Welcome back to GSL Code A with Artosis and Wolf. Our first match, very one-sided, crushing Trust. Next, YongHwa going up against Fantasy.
What do you think about this map, Nimbus?
Nimbus. Okay, hold on. I'm so bad at the map names. So, Foxtrot is that one. Yeah, the weird square.
This is the one that's like super duper square, like, and it looks like very simple, almost like the map is made out of like Legos or something.
Yeah, this is the map that I've actually seen like the least at this point, I think. Yeah, yeah.
It's a map that's really, really hard to take a fourth base on.
I actually have them all memorized except for Nimbus at this point, I think. Well, actually, the Foxtrot ramps are still getting me. I'm still a little bit confused about where the hell they all go.
I'll explain it to you sometime, but this one...
Thanks. Thanks, Wolf.
This one is the one that's really square. Like, the map is very, very simple. There's not a lot of terrain. It's fairly small, but it's still four-player. If I'm not also getting confused.
No, you are right about it. So I can't tell you what I think about the map quite yet.
Okay.
Not quite yet.
I feel like this map doesn't really favor either of these races at all. I suppose the airspace...
Every Terran player probably disagrees with that.
Probably.
I don't know what the Protosses think, but just generally speaking.
I'll ask Avilo what he thinks later.
Who?
Avilo.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So, Nimbus. Map is still not quite loaded yet. I guess they're just making sure that everything is set up here for these two players. Now, Fantasy, man, you want him to get through. I think it's everybody's fantasy, but it's really everybody.
It would be like a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantasy movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's not technically how you spell the movie, YongHwa. Thank you, Wolf.
Yeah. Well, I made that mistake when I first came to Korea. I thought I'd be clever, and I was like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. That's easy. YongHwa.
You're allowed to misspell words, YongHwa. It's okay.
It's okay. He spelled his name wrong. He's supposed to be a movie. All right, YongHwa versus Fantasy. Set number 2 here in the last group of the GSL Code A.
In the bottom left, our Protoss player, one of the original Artosis loves.
YongHwa.
Why'd you guys break up?
We didn't.
Oh, okay.
We're just seeing other Protosses.
All right. Over here at the bottom right, big fan favorite.
SK Telecom T1 Fantasy.
We have an open Protoss relationship.
Right. So, but you seem these days that you're a little bit interested in Fantasy.
Oh yeah.
If I'm not wrong.
I've been emotionally involved with Fantasy since he came on the scene.
Okay. It's got a Samsung shirt there. That fan.
I actually, yeah, I like Fantasy's play. All about vulture harassment and stuff in StarCraft 1, just like Artosis.
Yeah.
Harassing with dim vultures. He's much better, though. Anyways, you know, there was actually, in StarCraft 1, a very good Protoss with the name of YongHwa who named himself Movie. And I think he actually ended up winning a championship, too, if I recall.
He still plays, as far as I know, in the Sonic Star League, that other Brood War tournament. I've seen his ID pop up a lot over there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really funny. She said she doesn't like the is that Ace?
That's Sue.
Or Sue, I'm sorry. I said Ace.
Certainly not Ace. What is Sue and Gary doing there together? Uh-oh, the rumor mill. Uh-oh.
Well, the
StarCraft Reddit.
The sign was actually trashing on the Korean caster who used to be a comedian, Ikkun, and then it was a mystery who it was, but it was Gary. That's really funny. In a weird sort of way. Oh, denied.
Okay, so you were... Yeah, I remember this map completely now. I really have not played many games on this map, too. I think a lot of people thumbs it down, just like Foxtrot. Definitely get the other two a lot more.
This map is just kind of funny because the only terrain that... Oh, there she is again. She's still here. The only thing on this map that's like really terrain-oriented, you're not really into the StarCraft grills, I suppose.
I'm into StarCraft the game.
StarCraft : the game. This time it's not a movie.
StarCraft : the game 2. Dead or not dead. The return of StarCraft.
That's called Legacy of the Void. But in the middle of the map, there's like a cross on the watchtower. So that can sometimes come into play with melee units, but not so much in this matchup for holding the watchtower. And then there's like these high ground places over here towards like the the base that we're never going to see in this game because it's impossible to take, and it's just never going to happen. Now, if either of these players take a 4th base on this map, I'll be like, what happened in this game? Doesn't count if like there's a crazy base trade and like the Terran lands his base at like the 4th base location. If a Terran player is on 4 bases on this map, like, I'll eat a sword, as once a commentator said.
You'll eat a sword?
Yeah.
That's a lot harder than swallowing one, Wolf.
I don't know. I think it's kind of like the same thing.
No, there's sword swallowers. Have you ever heard of a sword eater?
No, actually. I've heard of fire eaters, ant eaters, vegetarians.
Yeah, all true. We do have a Stargate opening up here for YongHwa.
Yeah, probably going to be Oracle. I don't really feel like Phoenix is too good on this map. There's not a lot of dead airspace, so you're not really going to catch... Oops. That was actually a moment of indecision. That's like...
Didn't he start one, cancel?
You can't accidentally make a tech lab on a factory. That just actually can't happen. You can't be like, oh, oops, I meant to make a barracks. I accidentally started a tech lab on the factory.
Kind of weird. By the way, one thing I do want to point out is I actually think that this build from Fantasy is fantastic for this map. It's a 4-player map, takes a while to scout, so Command Center first already going to be good. But going into tech, I think is actually really smart. Like, heavy tech harassment. Because as you were saying, like, going up to 4 bases is going to be ridiculously hard here. And it's kind of just the way everything's shaped. It's a little bit wonky to defend, I guess.
It's really funny, by the way, this scan doesn't reveal the Oracle, but he has a feeling it's going to be Oracle, because I guess maybe he hits that wall on the ladder. Maybe that's what his practice partners, all the good process on SKT are doing. So he puts his Widow Mine in that little sneaky refinery spot. Unfortunately, the path of this Oracle I do not think will even come close to that Widow Mine, but it's still a cool idea, and it shows that he's got the idea that this is coming.
Well, this is 5 Marines, so he can stop it, and he does, in fact, force it back.
So actually,
whoa, that was actually really not good. Well, the thing is, I guess against 5, he wanted to go in and see what he could do, but he actually tapped an SCV first, but he took a shot before he even turned it on that hadn't healed, so pretty sure the Oracle loses there.
Yeah, the Oracle would have lost that fight for sure.
Yeah, so kind of a weird decision by YongHwa.
Thing is, if you go fight 5 Marines, if like there's a slight mismicro from the turn, you might kill them, but like it's not worth the risk. Oh god, he actually flies right into it. It's actually going to happen.
Well,
everyone's fantasy is coming true.
Well, you just have to trust in it.
It's the prophecy.
Like a movie.
Yes.
All right, so anyways, he's going to go ahead, use this as some a deterrent up here. And this isn't really that much of a tech opening, you know. He's just kind of rushing up to his medevacs. It's not like one of these heavy Widow Mine drops or anything. He's played very defensively with it, but that's fine because that's allowing him to get his medevacs out very quickly. And I think this is going to be a nice little poke that he's going to end up doing here because let's not forget that Nexus Cannon is like kind of far away from everything, right? This is not like a normal map in that regard.
Yeah. Nice grab there on that, the Marine. But he sees there's no 3rd base. I wonder what like this mid game is going to look like, because I feel like Fantasy's really gearing up to like do so much pressure that he's gonna put YongHwa so far behind that he can take a safe 3rd. But I don't think this is gonna work. The first Colossus is almost out. He's got the Mothership Core, of course. He's gonna attack into these 2 bases that are so secure.
Well.
Like, how could he possibly do damage?
I don't think he is going to do damage. Like,
well, there's nothing here, actually, so except the Nexus Cannon, which isn't going to be enough.
Yeah,
okay, I take it back. He moves up.
He's realizing what's going on.
He saw it with the observer. There.
Yeah. So
this shouldn't do anything.
Yeah, he's completely fine against this. Hey, he forces Nexus Cannon for 2 hits on a medevac. That's fine. It's a fine trade. And he is taking that 3rd, as you were saying. But the 3rd does come after 5 Raxes, so I expect to see him continue to put on some pressure, maybe deny a 3rd base. And look at this, he's producing Widow Mines once again. So he might be going for a Widow Mine heavy type of play, but normally with that you see like a lot of Widow Mines and Marauders, and yeah, he actually has 3 tech labs. So
yeah, this is the style we've seen players like Maru execute really well in the past.
Yeah.
He was looking for that observer. He was like, how did you know?
This really went out of favor though.
Yeah, I haven't seen this style in months, actually.
Yeah, we were seeing against it a lot of like mass Stalker Colossus builds, and we are also seeing some of these, like especially from Ruin, some more Immortals mixed in, which can do quite nicely against it. But, you know, I guess if you go for this type of style, and he continues to make those Widow Mines, which he doesn't necessarily have to do, you know, he can just have a few of them for a drop like this. But if he does and he mixes in Ghosts, maybe that'll work out for him.
Fantasy is scanning like it's StarCraft 1 right now. He's actually scanned so much.
Well, he doesn't need the mules if he's not going to take a 4th, right?
I suppose you could look at it that way. I mean, look at how much he's scanning.
Yeah,
he's like scanned actually like 4 times in the last minute.
Yeah.
There he goes again.
Wow.
Wow, he's actually just trying to make this work. I don't think it will, but you know what? It zones this army, and maybe he's going to get the 3rd.
He does, in fact, get the 3rd here.
Nicely done. That was pretty cool. Yeah. I was a bit doubting on that push for a second there.
You should never be doubting.
He had to block those Colossi to make it work, but he found a way. That was pretty smart. I actually really like that.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool.
He didn't cancel it looks like, either.
Yeah, he actually got the kill there.
Yeah, that's really nice.
You know, he did lose 4 Widow Mines because of that. Kind of cool how he did that, where he had to wait for those to actually kill, or if he ran over it, that would have damaged his army a lot. So, kind of neat play there by Fantasy. And he's continuing to make those Widow Mines once again. I wonder, like, that's a different tactic we don't see so often, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's preparing for that patch that's going to come out tomorrow. I mean, maybe that's really, like, when you're practicing, you know a new patch is coming out, you may be trying to adapt some new styles because...
Possibly.
You know, for example, when Siege Mode was removed, we saw before that, while it was announced, a lot of people started adding more Siege Tanks into the play to experiment with that.
That's true. Now, this is a big, big drop incoming. If he flies right into these Stalkers, it could be an issue, but sometimes Terrans like to try to fly right over them.
Sometimes Terrans keep scanning and being really safe. I'm starting to kind of like this scan style.
I like anyone who's willing to scan a lot. Because, hey, if he dropped all those as mules, what would he have? Like 160 supply, 170 supply?
He's at even worker count, so I mean, it's like he's on the same amount of income as the Protoss on 3 bases, while the Protoss still doesn't have a 3rd, so he has this extra money. A scan is worth not losing a medevac.
And you know what? This style is fitting Fantasy. Fantasy was known for tactically amazing play. You'd always be in the right place, you'd always harass in the right area. A lot of that is due to scans. Whereas he was known for letting his macro fall off a little bit because it's hard to spend your money and do all that at the same time. Now, the Mule fulfills both these. He won't have the extra money to have that macro, and he can tactically play well. And my tongue is only partially in my cheek as I say this.
Yeah, well, I mean, consider that that's a really tough Terran mechanic is dropping mules, making sure you use that energy efficiently.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
really
he doesn't have the extra mineral bank, whereas if he's trying to do all this, maybe in practice he always had 1,500 minerals, but here he's scanning and getting tactically good hits because he hasn't lost anything, right? Like, what's he lost? Almost nothing.
Well, YongHwa is playing a bit scared here. He's actually cut probes so significantly because he's like, I don't know what's coming this way.
Yeah.
I need to, like, spend all my money on defense. My 3rd base is super late because I'm trying to play super safe as well. He keeps doing these big, like, 7 dropship drops. Like, I got to be ready for everything. I got to be defensive. Fantasy's controlled the entire game, controlled the entire map, and he's actually 40 army supply ahead. However, he doesn't have any answer for these Colossi, really. 5 Colossi versus 5 Vikings. And he's going into Ghosts, which obviously are going to be good against High Templar, but YongHwa has not had any High Templar. He hasn't studied, I feel like he hasn't studied YongHwa's play very much because I can't remember the last time I ever saw YongHwa use a Storm. I don't think he's done that in like over a year.
He's a very Colossus guy nowadays, for sure. Always kind of been Colossus-based. But look, we have 9 Vikings. He's making 4 at a time. He has these Ghosts in here, which will be helpful.
They will be helpful.
Some amount, at least. You know, he's getting up to a very nice unit composition. If you look at that units tab, that is not a bad army.
All right, Vikings getting picked off here immediately. He knows he's got so many Colossi. EMP hits mostly Zealots here. And almost gets that Mothership Core.
Yeah, but he's not overcommitting on it, too. He's pulling back at the right time.
And he is making 3 Vikings at a time. He's actually getting that Viking count up pretty quick here.
Yeah. If he can just slaughter those off, that's going to be huge. Well, those are actually both used already.
All right, Zealots actually use a little bit of their charge on those, too.
Oh, so man. He's going to die here, isn't he? That is a big army, but you know what, those Vikings...
Look at the targeting on the Vikings.
Yeah, you know, he really did a very good job with that, down to 1 Viking. He was up to like 9 before that. And that's a lot of Colossi, Wolf.
And he's attacking rocks. Needs to be careful here.
Oh, wow.
Actually needs to turn around.
Yeah, he's dead, I think.
This is
bad.
the end, man. he was up 40 army supply until this exact moment where YongHwa started picking off Vikings, picking off units, and hitting this really strong 3-3 timing with Colossi. Before losing up Vikings, I feel like Fantasy predicted a High Templar switch that was never going to ever happen in a million years with YongHwa. And that's how it ends here, man. It's...
Yeah, that's a bit rough. Like, he was attacking the rocks. His army wasn't quite in the right place. He did kill the third of his opponent here. Maybe if he can make a giant arc and hold his main, but the way the barracks are placed, it's a little bit hard to believe. I guess maybe he can kite with the Vikings and actually kill the Colossi, but I don't think so.
Doesn't look that way.
Yeah, especially with his starports in the front, they're going to die first.
Look at that Colossus beam arc. It's like a light show.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like I'm at some really weird, very nice club.
Club Protoss. Artosis is
no
VIP.
Marines allowed.
Well, he picks off another Viking on his way out here. He's just whittling Fantasy down to death. It's sad
being very
because
safe about this win.
Fantasy had such a great mid game, but he just didn't have this. He didn't have the answer for a late game. This is the YongHwa comp, man. This is like straight up YongHwa Blink Stalker Colossus. That's all he does, and he's really good at it.
3-3, he's got 7 Colossus. You never really see that many Colossus in this matchup. That is a lot.
That's a YongHwa number of Colossi.
All right.
He always plays like this. I mean, I have to be honest. Like, he's only does his playstyle in PvT. I guarantee you he'll do it again next game, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does different openings to get there, but when he gets to late game, he's not going to make a single High Templar unless he's making it into an Archon, and even that is unlikely.
Well, he's got to use that gas for 7 Colossi and 3-3, so makes sense.
Well, I mean, this is a fancy GG timing if I ever saw it.
Yeah, it really is. Like, he is so beyond dead.
He's like, maybe I'll get the base. No, you're not getting the base.
No. Just seeing some fancy
3-3 Colossus timing, really strong. Not enough Vikings. Really cool zoom in here. 2 observers here just in case.
Just in case a bunch of Cloak Ghosts come up to kill him.
Just in case he's making a switch to Cloak Banshees.
May as well land those.
Yeah.
Well, he kills the Observer, and now he's using those Cloak Ghosts.
Oh, those Cloak Ghosts, man. He might have to attack his own Stalkers to get rid of them. GG.
Okay. So, game number 1 goes to YongHwa. I liked Fantasy's play in various ways. Kind of interesting with all the scans. He didn't really get any damage on though, because YongHwa was sealed up tight.
Yeah, I mean, he did deny the third base. He got that kill. That was really nice. And he kept scanning, and I really like that because a lot of Terrans end up losing in this matchup when they go too drop heavy because they just are like, I got to do damage no matter what, and they just kind of go in blind with the boost, and sometimes they lose a medevac or lose a lot of hit points. And in this case, man, he just ran in all the way, scans, okay, never mind, I'm moving back.
Yep.
Really efficient with his units.
That's right. He didn't lose anything, really, going up. Like, he lost the 4 Widowmines to kill the 3rd Nexus, but I would say that's definitely worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, YongHwa just stayed super calm, defended everything perfectly. He had enough observers out, and he had his units in smart locations. So, Fantasy unable to do damage. YongHwa might be, like, the perfect Protoss to play against Fantasy, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's
maybe Fantasy getting in is due to YongHwa beating Sorg and getting out in first place. Maybe that's what we need to get Fantasy into that next round.
It could be Artosis. Catalina is the map here, a good map choice for Terran. It's a good map for Bio. Allows you to really kind of spread out and do damage. There's some dead airspace as well you can work with. And every Terran player loves Octopus. So here we go. Protoss versus Terran here. And our last group of the GSL today.